Questions 1 through 3. Listen to the lecture and answer the questions.
Good morning, class. Today, I want to start with a simple but important question. Is it ethical to buy cheap clothing without thinking about how it's made? To answer that, we need to look at what really happens behind the scenes. Many famous clothing brands use factories in developing countries because production there is cheaper. This helps companies sell clothes at low prices, but it also creates serious ethical problems. One major issue is the poor working conditions in these factories. Workers often have very long workdays, sometimes 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, but still don't earn enough money for basic needs such as food, housing, and healthcare. Much of their work is physical and tiring. Many workers stand for hours, operate heavy machines, or repeat the same task all day. Imagine doing this kind of labor every day and still struggling just to survive. There's also the issue of worker protection. Even though many developing countries have labor laws, these laws often aren't enforced. Workers who try to speak out or form unions risk being fired or even threatened. Without a union, they have no real way to demand better pay or safer working conditions. Now, some people argue that these jobs are better than nothing. They say that even low-paying jobs are important in poorer countries. But this misses the main point. Just because someone needs a job doesn't mean it's acceptable to treat them unfairly or put them in danger. Of course, improving these conditions might mean higher prices for us, the consumers. Companies may need to charge more to pay workers fairly. But consider this. Isn't it better to pay a little more and know that the people who made your clothes were treated with dignity? In conclusion, I believe the answer to our question is clear. Buying cheap clothing without considering how it's made often supports unfair and unsafe labor practices. As consumers, we share the responsibility. We should support ethical production even if it costs a bit more, because fairness and safety should never be optional.
Questions 4 through 6. Listen to the lecture and answer the questions.
Good morning, everyone. Today, we're going to talk about how product labels influence what people buy. You've probably seen labels such as organic, fair trade, or not tested on animals on food, clothes, or cosmetics. These labels can really affect how consumers make decisions.
I've seen organic on food at the supermarket. What exactly does that mean?
Great question. When something is labeled organic, it means it was made without chemical fertilizers, strong pesticides, or genetically modified ingredients. Many people believe these products are healthier and better for the environment, so they're often willing to pay more, sometimes even up to 20% more, because they think the quality is higher.
So, is that the same idea behind things like fair trade coffee or chocolate?
Exactly. That label usually means the workers who made the product were treated fairly and worked in safe conditions. It also supports farming methods that are better for the planet. Some people choose these products because they want their money to support better treatment of workers and more responsible production.
I've also noticed not tested on animals on some beauty products. Does that really affect people's choices?
Yes, it does, especially for people who care about animal welfare. If a product says no animals were harmed in the making, some customers are more likely to buy it, even if there's a cheaper option without that label. For many people, knowing their choice makes a difference is a big reason to choose one product over another.
But how do we know if these labels are actually true?
That's a smart question. Not all labels are equally trustworthy. Some are certified by well-known organizations, while others might not follow strict rules. So it helps to check where the label comes from and what it really means. If consumers do a little research, they can feel more confident about their choices.
So, basically, the label saves time, but still helps people choose what fits their values?
Exactly. Most people don't have time to research every product, so labels give them a quick way to decide. In the end, labels can influence what people buy because they help shoppers pick products that match their values, whether that's health, fairness, or protecting animals and the environment.
Questions 7 through 10. Listen to the lecture and answer the questions.
Good morning, everyone. Today, we're going to explore an important question. Who is responsible for the problems caused by modern consumer culture? Many of the products we use every day are linked to environmental damage or unfair treatment of workers. So, should we place the blame on governments, companies, or the people who buy these products? Let's begin with the role of governments. They have the authority to create and enforce laws that protect both people and the planet. They can introduce rules that reduce pollution, support fair pay, and encourage the use of natural resources in a responsible way. However, in many countries, these regulations are not strong enough or are poorly enforced. Often, governments focus more on economic development than on environmental or social issues, which allows harmful practices to continue without consequences. Now let's turn to companies. Businesses are mostly focused on increasing their profits. To save money, they might use cheap, polluting materials or rely on low-cost labor in poor conditions. In some cases, they are fully aware of the damage their practices cause, but continue anyway to stay ahead in a competitive market. On the other hand, many companies claim they are simply meeting the demands of shoppers who want fast and affordable products. Next, we should consider consumers. Each person makes decisions every time they make a purchase. When buyers choose items that are made responsibly or are better for the environment, companies are more likely to respond and adjust their practices. However, many people either lack information about how products are made or prefer convenience and low prices. Some feel their personal choices are too small to make a difference, so they continue buying as usual. So, who has the greatest power to make a change? In my opinion, all three groups have an important part to play. Consumers can influence the market through their everyday decisions, and companies will respond if enough people demand change. But for real long-term progress, government action is essential. Strong laws can guide both companies and consumers toward a more responsible and sustainable future.